Hey guys, I wanted to thank our sponsors GameFlip ICO, where you can get paid to play video games. Check out their token sale page for more information and a chance to win $1,000 in GameFlip tokens by signing up for their newsletter. Their ICO starts on December 4th and runs until January 29th.
Hello, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm your host Sam Capizzi at CryptoSomniac, here to bring you everything crypto related, where the markets never sleep and neither do we. Today I want to talk to you guys about Raiden Network and its implementation onto the Ethereum blockchain. For starters, let's talk a little bit about what it is. So it's very similar to the Bitcoin protocol's Lightning Network, and what it aims to solve is largely scalability concerns that Ethereum is facing. Right now, Ethereum transacts something along the lines of around 10 to 11 transactions per second. Let me erase that. Where's the eraser? I will erase that and just write 10 to 11 transactions per second. And that is extremely small in magnitude. To give you an idea, I think Visa and MasterCard can transact something along the lines of somewhere between 50 to 60,000 transactions per second. And like I mentioned, it's very similar to Bitcoin's attempt at the same exact thing, addressing some of the scalability concerns that it faces. And to highlight some of the differences, Raiden Network, it will be accessible or used on all ERC20 tokens, so a little bit different from Bitcoin in that way. Bitcoin's Lightning Network is only for Bitcoin. Ethereum's will be usable for all ERC20 tokens. Additionally, they will also be able to develop out tools that make it available on any blockchain that uses the Ethereum virtual machine. And there are a number of chains that use the Ethereum virtual machine. In fact, I know Quantum is one of them. There are several chains that use the EVM in their protocol. So Raiden will actually be scalable to some of these other chains as well. But to explain briefly exactly what Raiden does and how it aims to seek, or how it aims to solve some of the scaling issues, let me just draw you a little example. So imagine we have the Ethereum main chain right here, and we have what is called state channels. Raiden utilizes what is called state channels to actually solve this issue here between only being able to transact, like I said, on the order of tens of transactions per second. What you could have is, let's say, Alice wants to interact with Bob. What they could do is they could open up a channel, a side channel, separate to the main channel here, and they can transact between each other back and forth without actually disturbing or reporting anything that happens back onto the main chain. So they can transact between each other extremely quickly. In fact, on practically near instantaneously. In Raiden's paper online, they don't actually have a white paper. They said they're coming out with one in the coming weeks, but on their website it says that this transaction would happen as fast as a text message or having a chat online, on the order of milliseconds, as opposed to, like I mentioned, only 10 transactions per second. In fact, the block times also in Ethereum are around 15 to 30 seconds per block. So it takes about 15 to 30 seconds for a new block to occur in Ethereum, and many times you have to wait several blocks to receive confirmation of a transaction. So that could take several minutes if you're waiting for 5-6 blocks. I think in Bitcoin it's pretty standard to accept 6 blocks as to basically confirm that a transaction is basically so ingrained into the blockchain that it's valid. I think on Ethereum they use something along the line of about 10 or 11 transactions before it's accepted as safe and into the blockchain. So that takes 5 to 10 minutes based upon a 15 to 30 second block discovery time. With this, like I said, it's near instantaneous. And what happens is these guys can transact back and forth many times. And the only requirement is that they have basically established this payment channel with an established amount in escrow on the Ethereum main chain. So they might have to, well, they will have to open up this payment channel in the beginning, and there will have to be an escrowed amount of Ethereum on the main chain that establishes and permits all this communication between each other. So maybe there is, let's just say, 1 ETH locked up on the main chain, and they can transact back and forth such that they do not, break the rules here of transacting more than 1 Ethereum. So they can go back, they can talk between each other as many times as they want, near instantaneously, and they only have to report what actually happens back to the main chain when they're all said and done. And there are actually a number of benefits here aside from latency. Additionally, privacy is one of them. So the only thing that gets reported actually back to the main chain is the amount that was transacted. Maybe it's 1 ETH, or maybe they transacted 10 ETH or 100 Ethereum. But it's private in the sense that you don't get to know who transacted from whom. I read in the paper, or what they have on their website, that there is no actual, there's IP scramblers and things built in such that you can't see whom actually transacted here in this side channel. And where Raiden really starts to scale, and how this really helps the network grow, let me show you. So instead of just basically multiplying this 10 to 11 transactions per second by some constant and trying to scale Ethereum that way, Raiden actually grows as the network grows. So let's pretend the main chain is here for a second, and you have Alice and you have Bob transacting with each other. And let's say Bob is transacting with, let's say, Dale for D. And say Dale transacts with Ed. Now, what if Alice wanted to send something directly to Ed without going through the main chain? What they could do is Alex could actually send a transaction to Ed through all these little payment channels established between these people. She can go from Bob to Dale to Ed in order to basically get directly to Ed. And it's almost like decentralization in the fact that the more people on the network, the more it helps this economy grow. And like I said, they can do this all off chain and only report what is necessary back to the main chain. So instead of, like I said, just trying to increase the number of transactions that are able to be processed on Ethereum's main chain just by a certain number, a larger constant, you actually have a network that just continues to grow and increases it increases the capacity of what the network can handle as it continues to grow. What I want to talk about next is a little bit about the transfer fees, because there are 2 fees in here, and how does the Raiden token actually come into play here? So there are small, very negligible fees involved in this transaction, and there's actually 2 fees involved. One is called protocol fees. There are protocol fees, and then there are peripheral fees. The protocol fees are fees that are required or that take place by each node that is running in the network. And they are in the denomination of whatever ERC20 token is being transferred. So the nodes basically charge these fees so that the channels do not get depleted over time. And they are very small, almost negligible fees. And like I said, they are in the denomination of whatever ERC20 token is being transferred. Then there are what's called peripheral fees. And this is where the Raiden token actually comes into play. And the ticker for it is RDN. So that's the Raiden token. What the peripheral fee is, it's basically a fee that helps facilitate all these people connect with each other. So when we have Alice and Bob and Ed and Charlie, and they're all connected to each other somehow, some way. What peripheral fees are basically little nodes, well, actually rather large nodes, that actually help facilitate this conversation between all these people here. And it's a fee that they charge to basically help facilitate these payment channels from basically, communicating and finding them and opening up these channels for a user of the platform. And it's assumed, they actually say on their paper, that basically 95% of all users, if not more, 95% or greater of all people transacting will actually need to utilize other nodes to get to these people here and help facilitate this conversation. And the way that those fees are paid for, it is in Raiden tokens. So in my eyes, the Raiden token will basically be imperative for all users that want to use this. Like I said, they anticipate that something along the lines of 95% of people will want to use basically these light clients where they don't have to run full nodes to get through all these other people. And the people that are offering this type of service will actually be paid in Raiden tokens to do that. So Raiden tokens will be distributed for the nodes that basically facilitate this conversation, and then the users that would like to use it, Alice, Bob, Charlie, Ed, will have to pay Raiden tokens. So in my eyes, that's sort of what gives the Raiden token value, and I think will be required by a lot of companies that actually want to use the Ethereum blockchain and use it to scale. Now, I want to talk about just a couple of other keynotes here, and let me erase this. And if you guys are interested in this and enjoy this video, let me know. You can leave your comments below. I haven't talked about Lightning Network a whole lot on the channel. If you're interested in learning more about Lightning Network, because as I said, this is very similar to Lightning Network on Bitcoin, let me know. And do me a favor, give this video a thumbs up. But what I want to talk about as well is the fact that Raiden is actually not the best. There's a few problems with Raiden that are known. And one is it is not meant to support very large transfers of money on the Ethereum chain, or on these payment channels rather. Large payments are still, from what I read, better suited to be transacted on the Ethereum main chain. And basically small to mid-size transactions are basically more suitable for what Raiden facilitates. Now, there are a couple of things that also complement Raiden that will help scale this and take this to the masses. In addition, things such as plasma and sharding, which are not quite the same as what Raiden is. They're a little bit different. I don't know why I wrote plasma. Plasma and sharding are actually two different things that will complement Raiden. They will be able to do things such as split payments apart. In fact, you can already do that in Raiden. So one way to help facilitate larger transactions in Raiden is you can actually support, or it supports microtransactions. You can actually split transactions and send them from multiple places. So if Alice wants to send money to, like I said, Ed, she could send money in micropayments done through maybe some here, and it goes there, all ending up back at Ed with one final amount. Similar things that Plasma and Sharding do, they will complement what Raiden does. Additionally, one thing that concerns me, and it's talked about a little bit inside their paper or on their website, is that basically because of these nodes helping to facilitate the conversation between all these different parties, there may become more centralized nodes that sort of transact and handle more volume than others. So I guess that is a concern to me. I'm not sure exactly how they'll address it, but I think that is one downside. There's a lot of things that need to be improved upon in Raiden. They actually say in their paper that Raiden works right now. It's they have it, but there are a number of things that they are improving upon in the protocol with the money that they raised for an ICO. There's been speculation of whether or not they really needed to launch an ICO to raise funds to do what they're doing. Ultimately, they will be using the funds to further develop the platform. But from what I read, it's actually usable right now. There's just a number of large hurdles that they need to go to implement it and make it mainstream. But in my opinion, just from what I read, like I said, the Raiden token itself, RDN, seems like it's necessary for most people to actually utilize Raiden. It sounds like I said, we have things like Omise Go, Civic. Civic actually wants to transfer to another chain, but 10x, basically a debit/credit card system out there that will want to transact, thousands, if not millions of transactions on the blockchain. And it seems inevitable to me that some of them will have to buy Raiden to transact. So that in turn should give Raiden its value. So I think it might be wise to pick up some Raiden. I will probably do so myself and continue to monitor it and see how it grows in the future. Like I said, Raiden is still a long-term project. I think a lot of these things, such as plasma sharding and Raiden, won't be actually usable for at least a full year. I think it'll be really interesting to see Ethereum grow over the next year. I think that it is still far away from being operable to the masses. So let me know what you guys think of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give me a thumbs up. And if you found it helpful, the best thing you could do is just share it with other people. Tag a friend or share it on your Facebook. And in fact, we're actually giving free Kyber away to anyone who, not anyone, but a lucky person who retweets it over on Twitter. So once this video is uploaded, reshare it on Twitter for a chance to win some free Kyber in my video tomorrow. So thank you guys all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys thought. And remember, stay a crypto somniac because the rich never sleep.